Hello there guys, this is your favorite YouTuber speaking, Car Lover. Now, I'm going to present you the first episode of my new motoring related series, The Failpipe. But why did I name it The Failpipe? Well, first, it's a pan at the tailpipe, and the tailpipe is a part of the car, as we're in a motoring show, so... But, what's more important, the source of the pan relates to our show. Because our show is gonna be about the worst parts of motoring, and it's gonna be sort of like the tailpipe that puts out the worst stuff from the engine, and here I'm gonna put the worst stuff from the history of motoring. But as we've got the name sorted out, let's go straight to the business. Now, some people say that the one-coil engine is great. Some people call it a rotary. And because of that, some people also say that the rotary engine is great. But I don't think so. I think a rotary engine is actually a piece of crap. But first, some introduction. What is a one-coil engine, you might say? Or what is a rotary engine? If you don't want yourself to sound like a pervert who can't pronounce R properly. Well, the rotary engine isn't a normal piston engine, where the movement of the piston, which moves upwards, compresses the fuel-to-air mixture put in by a valve and then, together with the spark from the spark plug, makes it explode and makes exhaust gases that flow out of the other valve or valves, if your car is made after 1995 or so, and then the piston goes down and transports power to the crankshaft, which then translates power to the flywheel, which then goes to the gearbox and to the drive shaft and the wheels. And in the rotary engine, the piston, which is shaped like a rouleau triangle, yeah, I also don't know what a rouleau triangle is, rotates and gets the fuel air mixture in, then it compresses it by getting close to the side, then together with the spark from the spark plug, the stuff explodes and pushes the rouleau triangle. Yeah, I'm really pretentious now, using so many French words. But, okay, let's talk about the engine. And after that, fuel explodes, the piston spins around and, not spins around, spins like about 120 degrees, something like that, and then exerts the fumes into the exhaust gas valve, or not valve, port. The rotary engines don't have valves, and that's one of the things that make them so weird, but the rotating piston has a gear inside of it, and that gear connects to a smaller gear, which is connected to the crankshaft, which is connected to the flywheel, etc. And when the outer gear on the piston moves, which means that the piston also moves, we've got drive, as some people like Federers say. But now let's talk about the history of the engine. It was invented by the German Felix Wankel. I'm not mispronouncing a word, believe me. It was used by companies like NSU, which is a now defunct German company bought by Volkswagen and discontinued about 40 years ago, and Mazda, which still exists, but doesn't make rotary engines anymore. The good things about the rotary engine is that it has 2 times more power to displacement ratio, 2 times higher than a piston engine. So, out of the same displacement, it makes 2 times more power. But, unfortunately, it has not only a 2 times bigger power amount, but it also has a much more bigger fuel consumption increase, which means that it consumes a lot of fuel, more than a comparatively performing piston engine. And what's worse, you can't convert it to LPG or CNG, which means you can't reduce fuel costs and you have to pay for the gas. What's more, the rotary engine has a bigger lubricating surface, which means that it needs more lubricant. And if you're a layman, lubricant means oil. And you can't pour normal oil into a rotary engine. No, you have to pour special oil. And that special oil means 2 times more expensive oil. And by 2 times more expensive, I mean 2 times more expensive than stuff like Mobil 1. If we compare the rotary engine to something that can use worse oil, then it might be 3 times, 4 times, lots of. And it gets worse. There aren't too many car repairmen who fix rotary engines, and those who do fix rotary engines want a lot of cash. For example, a full engine rebuild costs upwards of $1,000, and a piston replacement costs $500, which is more than in a normal engine, and you get much more cash for labor they have to get, which means that the used costs are even higher, and it gets even worse. Not only there are less mechanics that can fix rotary engines, the engines are also more unreliable. For example, on the picture you can see right now, it is a documentation of a 1970s Mazda RX-3, which is a rotary engine, and as you can see, it has traveled 12,000 miles and the engine is already kaput. So the costs of usage are very, very high. And if anybody gave a damn, not like I did, of course, those engines make a lot more emissions. I mean, gas emissions, CO2 emissions, sulfur oxide emissions, nitrous oxide emissions. I mean, not that nitrous oxide you see in Fast and Furious when they press a button and the engines go vroom, but the nitrous oxides which pollute the world. Not like I care about, but those engines can't even pass the European emission norms. So, in the end, the rotary engines are expensive to use, unreliable, and not too ecological. Not too environmentally friendly, I mean. So, maybe it's good that the last car with such engine, the Mazda RX-8, went out of production 6 years ago. Goodbye. This has been Car Lover in the Failpipe. Subscribe and like. Goodbye.